Our topic for today is change management. Change is something that happens in an organization. It can be a change in the management. Employees, they also change, they come and go. A change in different policies, practices. What is organizational change? Change that takes place in the organization, but that change must create an impact. What's that impact? The impact of having a positive change that will benefit not only the employees but the whole organization. We know that organizational change is very important for the improvement of the organization, and the organization must adapt or adjust to any kind of change. That includes changes or development in technology, changes in policy, changes in products, or any other changes which will benefit the organization, or sometimes these changes are unexpected. So there's also what we call the incremental change. What is incremental change? These are the gradual improvement in the work processes. So since organizational change takes place, and we know that organizational change is very important because it will benefit the whole organization. But when we talk about incremental change, it is a gradual change because we cannot immediately implement a change, because we need to orient the employees so that they can adjust to the change that we want to implement. We must make the employees comfortable to the change that is happening, and that is our role as a leader, that is our role as a manager. And we also need to know now what are the reasons why employees opposes change. So there are 7. So we need to focus first on the first reason for employees why they oppose change. Okay, the first one is inertia. Inertia is something to do with the habits, or it is the old manner of doing things, because there are some situations where employees are already comfortable on what they are doing in an organization, but they are not open to change because they're comfortable on what they are doing at the present. Okay, the second one is timing. So if a manager wants to implement change, the timing is very necessary or very essential. Why? Because the manager or the leader must also recognize the moods, okay, and the interests of the employees. So it is very important that when a manager wants to implement change, the manager must talk or create a meeting with his employees to talk about the possible changes and explain why that certain changes must occur in an organization. They will not resist the change. So timing is very important. If a manager implements some changes and the employees experiences emotional problems, it is hard for them to accept changes. So perhaps the manager must wait for the right time to talk to them when they are already emotionally stable to face the changes necessary for the development of the organization. And there's the third one, the related to surprise. So what is surprise? It is related to unexpected or sudden or extreme change. So if you're a manager, even though you have some changes that you want to implement in an organization, you must need to consider that employees will be shocked if there is a sudden change. Because employees, especially if you are new in an organization, if you are a new leader, a new manager in that organization, and they're already comfortable on the policies and standard of the former manager or the former administration, then it will be harder for them to adjust to your way no, of leadership on how you manage things. So even though your way of managing things or your way of leadership that you think is much effective compared to the previous manager, you need to change the mindset first of the employees, because they're already comfortable, no, in the past management style of the past manager. So what you need to do is to create a comfortable environment for them, that gradually their mindset in terms of following these new policies is really intended for the development of the organization. As you do it gradually and you explain to them, you consider their individual differences, then there will be a point of time that they will realize that the changes that you want to implement in the organization is very important. And your purpose is for the organization itself, for the development of the organization. Then number 4 also is the peer pressure. What is peer pressure? Sometimes employees, most of the time, are not open to changes because they are being influenced by their friends. So as a manager, if you want to implement change, you need to consider the peer pressure, the groupings. So you need to remove the faction, you need to create a unity wherein there will be no groupings. As a manager or a leader, you need to unite this faction into one group only, with one principle, one purpose, one goal, and that is to achieve the policies and objective of the organization. So you need to explain to them that what you want to accomplish is the objective of the organization. So there will be no groupings, there will be only united group, and that group must be the whole organization working towards a common goal. Set aside the differences, to achieve that objective. Then there's also the reason of self-interest. Sometimes they do not value or they do not care about the objective of the organization. You need to explain to your employees that they must set aside their self-interest. What's important is the whole, the totality, the objective of the organization as a whole, not the self-interest of one individual only. And then there's also the concept of misunderstanding, where employees were ignorant about the reason for the change. So sometimes employees are not open for changes because of misunderstanding. They do not really understand the exact plan, the exact goal, the purpose of the plan, why they want to implement it. That's why they oppose against it. So as a manager, what you need to do in order for your employees to be clarified about this problem, you need to explain it to them. Again, you can conduct a meeting, clarify to them what's the purpose of this objective in order for them to be clarified and to avoid misunderstanding. Then another is the different assessment. What is different assessment? Employees have different opinions, values, and views about certain things. So we all know we cannot please everybody if you want to implement a change. So as a leader and as a manager, it is very difficult to handle those things. But as long as your objective is for the continuous improvement and development of the organization and for the benefit of the employees as a whole, then you need to explain to the employees who are not agreeing to that change your objective and goals. Consider their opinions and possibly apply their opinions to your new programs that will benefit the whole organization. So we, as a manager, we must not implement changes in which we do not consult our employees, because our employees are the lifeblood of the organization. As a manager, we must consider their opinion because they are the frontliners. They see the reality, what is happening in an organization. So those are the different reasons why employees opposes to change. Right now, there's a general model for change management. First, it must start from unfreezing and then moving to institute the change and then refreezing. So this model of change is very important and it is also effective in implementing change. A manager now can use this model for change management. So the first step in this model is the unfreezing. What is unfreezing? It is acknowledging that present practices are no longer suitable to present situation. As a manager, what our goal is to produce result, to make the organization profitable, to make the organization effective, to make the employees effective and efficient in their work. Efficiency will result to productivity and profitability. So we must try to unfreeze and remove all the practices and policies that are no longer effective in the organizations. The second step is moving to institute the change. It is evaluating what strengths to include and what weaknesses to take out to create change. The manager now must analyze and list all the necessary practices. What are the current best practices of the organization that makes the organization effective? The third part now is refreezing, wherein it is the process of intensifying the new behaviors that support the change. So since you already identified the best practices that will make or that will benefit the whole organization, then you need to add new practices. So as a manager, you must not be contented on the present practices. Learning is continuous. So these are the things that we need to consider in change management.